Hello and welcome back to Bicyclelegs and another edition of Anniversary Albums. Today we're going to be looking at albums that are having a significant anniversary in the month of February 2023. Again, for those who are new to this concept, when I talk about a significant anniversary, I'm talking about an anniversary that ends in a 5 or a 0. So 50th, 35th, 25th, that sort of thing. So let's get straight into it. Again, I've picked another 10 albums. I know that I'll have missed some out, so please do let me know in the comments which ones you think I should have included that I didn't. And we'll start off with an album that is celebrating its 35th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 2nd of February in 1988, and that is I'm Your Man by Leonard Cohen. Includes some stone cold Leonard Cohen classics, including First We Take Manhattan. That song was originally recorded by Jennifer Warnes on her famous Blue Raincoat album, which is her cover album of Leonard Cohen songs. Wonderful album, definitely recommended. Leonard Cohen's version, though, is the definitive version of this song. It came out afterwards, but it's just incredible, really icy and yeah, just gets that sort of scary feel to it. I love it. The title track, I'm Your Man, is wonderful. Jazz Police is great. Ain't No Cure for Love is another classic, as is Tower of Song. There's a lot of wonderful Leonard Cohen music on this. He's definitely moving even more than he did on various positions into a more modern sound, but it suits the music. It suits the songs really, really well, I think. The next album we're going to look at is one of the all-time classic debut albums. It was originally released, it's having its 45th anniversary in the month of February. Originally released on the 10th of February 1978, and that is Van Halen, Self-Titled. I mean, what can be said about this album that hasn't already been said? You may have noticed in my series Bicyclelegs Discovers Rush that I'm always going on about how Alex Lifeson is not a shreddy guitar player, and I think that's given people the impression that I don't like any shreddy guitar players. I love Eddie Van Halen, and he shreds like nobody else, and this album was his, sort of statement of, it was his sort of statement of purpose. Just a great album. I mean, the cover of You Really Got Me, but I mean, things like Running with the Devil and Ain't Talking About Love and Little Dreamer. And of course, you've got Eruption. I mean, just wow. Yeah. Great album. And just an incredible start to what would be an incredible career. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 50th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 11th of February 1973. It is the second album by this particular band, and that is Tyranny and Mutation by Blue Oyster Cult. Now, Blue Oyster Cult is a band that I've only really been getting into in the last couple of years. I wasn't back into them back in the day, I will freely admit that, but I've been really growing to love this band as I've been collecting more and more of their stuff, and this might be one of my favorites of them that I've collected so far. I certainly don't have the whole catalogue yet, so that's a tentative position, but still, I do love this album. I mean, you've got the Red and the Black, and you've got Wings Wetted Down, and you've got OD'd on Life Itself, and Mistress of the Salmon. And yeah, it's just a really, it's an odd album. I don't know how you would classify this musically. Is it hard rock? Is it psychedelic? Is it... Oh, there's a lot of different things going on in this album, and I really enjoy that. Definitely one worth checking out if you don't know this band all that well yet. And if you do, I'm sure you'll understand why I really enjoy this album. Speaking of iconic debut albums, as we were with Van Halen, another iconic debut album came out in and is having its 45th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 17th of February 1978, and that is The Kick Inside by Kate Bush. And of course it's got Wuthering Heights on it. You know, the first UK #1 by a female artist that was self-written. I mean, what more do you need to say? It's an incredible song. But you've also got things like Strange Phenomena and Feel It, and James and the Cold Gun, Man with Child in His Eyes. You know, just wonderful start to one of the most idiosyncratic music careers of anybody, I think. I love everything that Kate Bush has done, and this album is where it all kicks off. Well worth looking into if you haven't already. Now the next album's the oldest one we're going to be looking at this month. It is celebrating its 55th anniversary in the month of February, originally released on the 21st of February 1968. It's another debut album, maybe not quite such an iconic one, but still a really, really good album as far as I'm concerned, and that is Child is the Father to Man by Blood, Sweat and Tears. This is the only Blood, Sweat and Tears album that Al Kooper was on, and he pretty much leads the band in this early incarnation. He would leave the band after this album, and of course David Clayton Thomas would take over as the lead singer, and there would be, you know, multiple lineup changes as the years went by for Blood, Sweat and Tears. But this is a wonderful, wonderful album. Most of the songs are written by Al Kooper. A couple are cover versions. There's a Harry Nilsson cover and a Randy Newman cover. Wonderful music, great horn section, just a great 60s feeling to it throughout, you know, and things like I Love You More Than You'll Ever Know and My Days Are Numbered and Something Going On. But you've also got the cover of Without Her by Harry Nilsson and Just One Smile by Randy Newman. Terrific debut album, but I think maybe the first couple with David Clayton Thomas I like even better. This is still a wonderful album though. The next album is one that's definitely controversial in this band's catalogue. It's having its 40th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 22nd of February 1983, and that is Kilroy Was Here by Styx. Now again, Styx is a band I've only been getting into in the last few years. The one song of theirs I always knew from the 80s and absolutely loved was Mr. Roboto. I don't care. I know a lot of Styx fans hate that song. I know a lot of Styx fans don't care for this album. I love Mr. Roboto. I think this is a really good album. Maybe it's not as good as some of the stuff they did in the 70s, as I'm discovering, as I'm, again, you know, going through and discovering the Styx catalogue. But there's still some really good stuff on here, you know, Heavy Metal Poisoning and Haven't We Been Here Before and Don't Let It End, and, you know, it's a concept, and, you know, I think it would have made a good movie if they'd ever made a full-length movie of it rather than just the film clips. But I think it's a worthwhile album. The next album we're going to have a look at is having its 50th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 25th of February 1973. It is considered an all-time classic by this band, and that is Billion Dollar Babies by Alice Cooper. And before anybody asks, yes, I do have the $1 billion note. Very nice. So, I mean, a lot of people, this is their favourite Alice Cooper album. It's the second to last by the Alice Cooper Band. It's a great album, there's no doubting that. I don't know quite where I would rank it, but I mean, you've got Elected, and I Love the Dead, and $1 Billion Babies, the title track. You know, Hello Hooray. Just wonderful, wonderful sort of is it glam? Is it sort of trash rock? How would you describe it? It's just wonderful, wonderful rock and roll music as far as I'm concerned. Great album. Now the next album is fairly new. It's only celebrating its 10th anniversary in the month of February. Originally released on the 25th of February 2013. To me, my favourite album by this artist, and that is The Raven That Refused to Sing and Other Stories by Steven Wilson. And yes, that's autographed. I actually saw Steven Wilson on the Raven tour and got the meet and greet package with it. Got 3 albums, I think it was, autographed. Wonderful. Great show it was too. But this album, just incredible. One of my favourite albums of all time. I will probably do an episode of favourite albums of all time on this album at some stage because it's just incredible. There's only 6 songs on it, but they're all absolutely killer. Luminol, Drive Home. Oh, Drive Home. The film clip for that. Oh, it's achingly beautiful. The Holy Drinker's really good. The Pin Drop, The Watchmaker, and then the title track. Oh, again, another absolutely heartbreaker of a song. All these songs are based on ghost stories that Steven Wilson had written. The lyrics are wonderful. The music is an absolute homage to 70s progressive rock, but done Steven Wilson's way. It's definitely not a pastiche or a rip-off. It's done very much in his style, but it is definitely a homage to 70s progressive rock, and I absolutely adore it. Speaking of 70s progressive rock and another debut album, the next album we're going to have a look at is having its 50th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 28th of February 1973, and it is the self-titled debut from Camel. Camel is a band I absolutely adore. You know, definitely, they could rock, but they definitely had a more pastoral side to them, I think, than some of the other progressive rock bands of the 70s. And I really, really like that about them. But you've got some great songs on here, you know, Slow Yourself Down, Never Let Go, Separation, Arabaluba. Is that how you say it? Yeah. You know, just some absolutely great songs on here. And of course, you've got the original lineup of the band. Beautiful stuff. And then the last album we're going to have a look at today is having its 40th anniversary in the month of February. It was originally released on the 28th of February 1983, and that is War by U2. Now, those of you who watched last week's episode on artists where your favourite album is a live album will know that my favourite U2 album is Under a Blood Red Sky. Under a Blood Red Sky was done on the War tour, and you know, there are a number of songs from this album on Under a Blood Red Sky, about half of them, I think. I think the versions on Under a Blood Red Sky are better, just because I happen to love those live versions so much, but this is still an absolutely brilliant killer album. Sunday Bloody Sunday, New Year's Day, 40, Two Hearts Beat as One. You know, just absolutely great stuff. Red Light, Surrender. Yeah. I mean, if I was going for a favourite U2 studio album, this one, oh, I don't know if it'd be the top, but it would definitely be top 3. No doubt about it. So those are my anniversary albums for the month of February 2023. Please let me know in the comments which ones of these are your favourites, which ones maybe you don't care for so much. And please do let me know which ones I haven't included, because I know there's a bunch I've left out. And I love seeing people suggest their own albums for the anniversary album shows. Especially as sometimes they're ones that I had on my list and I had to leave off, but sometimes they're ones that I just completely didn't think about. And I love it when you guys suggest those, because then I go and, oh, I should have listed that. And I go and have a listen to it. Great stuff. Please like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. If you're new to the channel, please go and have a look at some of my other videos. Everything's playlisted, so if you go up to the playlist tab on my page, you'll find a playlist for my anniversary album shows. So if you want to see some of the other ones of that, you can go to the playlist and watch those. If you want to see my Bicyclelegs Discovers a Rush series, there's a playlist for that. If you want to see some of my studio albums rank shows, there's a playlist for that, and so on and so on. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at bicyclelegs on Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, I'm mostly posting the records I happen to be listening to or ones that I might have just picked up, as well as posting channel updates. On Twitter, I talk about anything and everything, but I am definitely trying to give that more of a music focus. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.